All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to this explainer, where we're breaking down the Portugal versus Uzbekistan FIFA World Cup 2026 match highlights and analysis. 5 goals, 0 reply. Literally an absolute blowout. We are going to deconstruct exactly what went down on that pitch, how Portugal pulled off this masterclass, and what this total demolition actually means for the rest of the tournament.
I mean, just think about that scoreline. 5-0. It wasn't just a win for the Celestial. It was a statement. A massive, echoing warning to literally every single team left in the bracket. Portugal is not messing around. They walked into Group H knowing a solid result would practically lock up their knockout spot. But they didn't just win, right? They absolutely schooled a heavy underdog that was making a historic World Cup journey.
Okay, part 1, the onslaught.
6 minutes. That is literally all it took. Before Uzbekistan could even get their defensive shape together, boom, 1-0. Fast, clinical, absolutely zero hesitation. Then we hit the 17th minute and bam, 2-0. The crowd's still buzzing from the first goal and the net is rippling again. By the time halftime rolled around, 3-0. They tacked on a fourth at the 60-minute mark and a fifth deep into the 87th minute, basically just to make sure the message was heard loud and clear.
Now think about the psychological toll of that halftime score. Down 3-0 by the break. Uzbekistan's entire game plan had to pivot. They weren't walking into the dressing room trying to cook up some magical tactical tweak to win. No, their mindset entirely shifted from trying to get a result to honestly just trying to survive the next 45 minutes without totally collapsing.
Moving on to part 2, by the merciless numbers.
So, the Selikawa hoarded a massive 66% of possession. Look, that's not really a competitive football match, is it? That's one team forcing the other to chase shadows for an hour and a half. Uzbekistan was starved, restricted to just 34% of the ball. Portugal was playing possession football like it was a casual training session at their home ground, totally dictating the rhythm.
And the stats really highlight the difference in attacking threat. Portugal took 16 shots, and they were just ruthlessly clinical, putting 9 of those on target, and of course, scoring 5 times. That's a conversion rate any top club in the world would absolutely kill for. Meanwhile, Uzbekistan managed just 7 total shots, and only 2 were on target. Honestly, Portuguese goalkeeper Diogo Costa was basically a spectator out there. He only faced 2 meaningful efforts the whole night.
All right, part 3, the Cristiano Ronaldo effect.
We absolutely have to talk about the man himself. Starting 11, number 7 on his back, strutting onto the pitch with that exact same fire he's had for 20 years. Now what's really fascinating here is this concept of tactical gravity. So Ronaldo didn't actually score tonight, but if you don't really watch football, you might completely miss his impact. He exerts this immense tactical gravity. Every single Uzbekistan defender had to keep at least one eye completely glued to him. Literally just by standing in a dangerous spot, he naturally drags 2 panicked defenders right toward him. And, well, when you pull 2 defenders out of position, what happens? You create these massive pockets of space everywhere else. This intense hyper-focus on Ronaldo was just perfectly exploited by the rest of the attack. Bruno Fernandes was everywhere. I mean, everywhere. Running, pressing, pulling the strings, and that extra breathing room gave Joao Felix and Pedro Neto all the freedom they needed to absolutely punish Uzbekistan for every single inch of space they gave up. Plus, the tactical execution out on the wings and in the middle was just as devastating. João Cancelo and Nuno Mendes pushed so incredibly high up the pitch, stretching it so wide that Uzbekistan just couldn't handle it. They were being pulled apart. And right in the middle of it all, Vitinha. He controlled the midfield so effortlessly, always composed, always finding the perfect pass, honestly making a World Cup match look like a Sunday morning kickabout.
Because they had this total tactical control, Portugal could execute a really smart 60th minute strategy. The second that 4th goal went in, the manager immediately went to the bench, bringing on Francisco Conceição and Gonçalo Inácio. This is a manager who's thinking, 3 games ahead. Safely subbing players, wasting 0 energy, taking absolutely no unnecessary risks, and brilliantly saving legs for the road ahead.
Which brings us to part 4, a matter of respect.
As our source analysis clearly points out, and I really want to emphasize this, Uzbekistan deserved respect tonight, not sympathy, respect. Just qualifying for this 2026 World Cup out of the AFC Asian qualification is a genuinely historic achievement for their football program. They earned every right to be on that pitch.
And look, they didn't just roll over. Serie A's Eldor Shomurodov, their main guy, worked tirelessly all match. Abizbek Feyzullayev showed some real flashes of quality. And get this, they committed 15 hard-fought fouls, picking up a yellow card. They competed physically, they fought, and they ran until the final whistle. The scoreline? Honestly, it just highlights the sheer gap in program depth, experience, and resources. It wasn't a lack of heart from the Uzbekistan squad. Not at all.
Finally, Part 5, the World Cup road ahead.
So for Portugal, everything is perfectly aligned right now. They've got Group H firmly under control. Now all eyes turn to their big, defining matchup against Colombia on June 28th. If Portugal brings anywhere near this exact same level of intensity, they are going to march into the knockout rounds as one of the most complete and frankly terrifying teams in the entire competition.
And we've got to bring it back to Ronaldo's mission. Playing in what is probably his final World Cup, tonight proved he is far from done. This isn't some relaxed farewell tour where he's just waving to the crowd for a participation medal. No way. You can see it in how he carries himself. He is playing with incredibly high stakes because he genuinely believes this Portuguese squad has the talent to actually lift the trophy. A deep run here, that puts the final crown on one of the greatest careers in sports history.
On the flip side, Uzbekistan is facing a totally different reality. A 5-0 loss puts enormous pressure on everything that comes next. They're staring down a really uphill battle to quickly mentally regroup, shake off this heavy defeat, and somehow find a way to compete in their final group stage game. But remember, their incredible journey to getting to this World Cup doesn't just get erased by one harsh scoreline. So after witnessing that absolute masterclass, I really want to hear from you guys. Will Portugal go all the way and actually win the 2026 World Cup? Drop a yes they win it or no they get knocked out right down in the comments. I read every single one. And hey, make sure to hit subscribe to follow the rest of our daily 2026 World Cup explainers. We're going to be breaking down every match, every moment, and every single story. See you in the next one.